It's a hard life sometimes being a Fujifilm user, and even worse for the fanboys and fangirls out there. Just when you think you've decided on your ideal setup, or let's be honest, setups, you get your hands on a piece of gear that turns all that upside down yet again. It came out in 2015 and was hailed by pixel peepers and bokeh purists alike, but at around £770, is it worth losing your marbles over? Especially if you're coming from a Nikon or Canon 135mm telephoto lens background. The lens comes in at 75 by 105mm. It weighs 540 grams without the caps and the rather large hood. It has a maximum aperture of f2, closest focusing 60 centimeters with a 0.3 times maximum magnification when shooting close-ups. You're looking at a 62mm filter thread size. The lens itself is weather and dust resistant. And one other thing, it has a quad linear autofocus motor. More on that in a bit. It's fairly big. It doesn't have image stabilization, and well, that's it. I feel so inspired by this lens that I see it as a very worthy investment. It might be a bit too long for working in certain spaces, such as some studios or small rooms at venues, but I think I'd pull out the 35-1.4 for those particular situations. The sharpness of this lens, to my eyes at least, could not have been better. It worked extremely well with the X-Trans sensor. Wide open and across the frame, the image quality was spot on. The bokeh is mostly smooth and it's gorgeous. Let's just get that out of the way if it needed to be said. Yeah, stopping down the lens isn't so amazing, but personally I won't be stopping down too often with this lens with my style of shooting. That quad linear motor gave me a super quick, super responsive, snappy autofocus. And of course, the build quality is solid, so it should stand the test of time for a pro on the move. Weather sealing, it's a bonus for me, but it's not so important in my line of work. Could be for you. The manual focus ring has just the right amount of tension. So if that's important, if you're a manual focus shooter, you'll find that's nice, it's sure, solid, and it's not slipping away. To some degree, it's understandable that we want to know how this compares with the 56mm, but I think that's a little unfair. What with one being more or less the equivalent of your 85mm on full frame, and this 90 taking the place of your 135mm. So two lenses, arguably for two different styles of people photographer, for example. Now, I was a big fan of the Nikon 85mm 1.4, and so it was great to move to the 56 1.2 when I moved to the Fujifilm X series body. But it's 90. It makes you reassess where your heart lies. Yeah, the 90mm is 135 grams heavier. It's about 30% longer, 1.5 f-stops slower, slightly more expensive depending where you live. But it obviously shoots somewhat faster than the 56mm. When it comes to aperture, and it's smoother too. When it comes to bokeh, arguably. Of course, with the 90, you're going to get more reach. That's a personal preference. You might need the intimacy of that beautiful 56mm lens. You may need that focal length to work within certain spaces. The 90mm offers better magnification too. That could be handy for those of you that like to shoot a few close-ups with your longer lens. 1.2 is a thing of beauty and it's almost poetical, but the 90mm takes advantage of the X-Trans technology better to me. IQ then, when it comes to the 56 or the 90, isn't a deciding factor for me. But however you take it, I wouldn't say no to either. Even the 60mm won't leave you stranded, but of course it's slower, not as magical, but maybe it's a cheaper alternative while you wait to see how the 80mm f2.8 with OIS, how that will make you feel. There's a reason Fujifilm have captured the attention of the photography world since launching the X series and giving enthusiasts and pros way too much food for thought. It's not a bad thing. This lens is no different. For me, it provokes all the original feelings I had when Fuji X series came along. And really, this is a lens that I would work with full time. And that's where it gets complicated. Say you're sure of your wide angle lens, you love your 14 or your 16 or your 18, if you're not an internet hater. Or maybe you're happy with the wide zooms. Okay, then you're standard. Maybe you're into the 35 1.4 like me, or the f2 maybe, but then you want something a bit longer and you've settled on, let's say, the 60mm. Now the autofocus isn't such an issue for you. Or maybe you went with the amazing and provocative 56mm like I did. But wait, that's 3 lenses and you probably only want to be carrying 2 bodies on any given job. But then you remember, these lenses are way lighter than the DSLR equivalents that you used to use. And if you're a prime fan over zooms, lighter than most of the brilliant Fuji zooms out there. So maybe you take 3 lenses and you've got your bases covered. Or 2 if you're a zoom fan. Keep it simple, even if Fujifilm don't make it easy for some of us. This is inspirational to me and it's tempting the crown away from the 56mm 1.2. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, let us know what you think below. It's all personal, so now it's down to you guys.